Corn School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by BASF and Pride Seeds.
I'm Amber Bell, and this is Real Agriculture, here today for an episode of Corn School with Aidan Filipchuk of Pride Seeds, and we're going to be talking residue management. Welcome, Aidan. It's great to see you.
Yep, thanks for having me, Amber.
So let's start off with the basics. What qualifies as good residue management in corn?
Well, good residue management is like most crops. We want it to be broken up so we have good seed to soil contact when we're planting. We really want there to be some residue because we know that helps with moisture retention, snow catching, and all those good benefits that residue has. But really, especially when you're planting in a corn stover, you want that to be broken up so your plants can have good, even emergence as it comes up out of the ground.
And on the other end of things, what does not so good residue management look like?
Well, there are some things that I see from time to time when I'm checking fields, and that's just going to be when you have really heavy residue. So whether it be cereal or corn silver, if you have really big patches of heavy residue, we're going to start seeing like an impediment of corn emergence. We know if we have really heavy residue, it's going to keep the soil from warming up because it insulates the soil underneath. And that's just going to lead to cooler temperatures at planting, and that's going to lower your germination rates and just really slow it down. So we really just want to make sure that if we are leaving residue, we want it to be worked up good, break it up so it starts decomposing into the ground, putting some more nutrients into the soil and just giving our seeds the most seed to soil contact you can get.
What would you say is the yield impact of having too much residue at the start of the season?
Well, it depends on how well your corn can take it. So in fields that I've seen this year and previous years, when there is heavy residue, we see less germination, and we have lower plant stands. So, and we know that corn's a very poor competitor in the early season. So you really want it to be as even as possible. When you have too much residue in that, you're going to see those plants maybe being a little bit stagey. Some will be in that V4, even down to V2 side by side. Those plants that are a little bit more ahead came out of the ground earlier. They're going to start competing for nutrients with those less mature plants, and they're going to kind of take nutrients and moisture from them. And it's just going to follow that through all the way to the season. And you'll have some plants that are a little bit more wet, some that are dry, ready to harvest. And it's just going to make it a little bit more difficult on when you want to decide when to chop or combine your corn.
Can too much residue impact pests or disease in the cornfield?
Yeah, so luckily for us out in Western Canada here, we don't have too much disease pressure. But one thing that has been noted and I've seen come out this last year was European corn borer. There have been some populations that are resistant to our traits that are available right now. So an European corn borer really likes to overwinter as a fully grown larvae in corn stover. So really breaking that up, like in the fall, you could see lowered populations, and it'll just really help keep the populations down.
What does no-till look like in corn?
Well, in southern Alberta, it'd always be good if we could no-till it, just because we are hot and dry quite often. No-till, I'm sure, has come across a lot of guys' minds. It is a little bit tougher to achieve and get the yields that you're wanting to, just because it is not very well practiced in Alberta yet. We are trying to have some trials with strip tillage in it, which is showing some really promising results. And that's a very good method of application for reduced tillage in it. So you're going to have good moisture in there. Your rows, when you do cultivate in those strips, it's going to warm up the soil where you're going to be planting. So that's really good if you are trying to do a reduced tillage system.
So do you have any anecdotes of what good residue management has looked like, or maybe what too much residue being left on the ground has looked like?
Yeah, so we do lots of plots in Alberta, and it's this year we planted two plots a week apart, and they're about a mile down the road from each other. One field had a cereal residue on it that got incorporated really well, and we have another field that was corn stover, and it was incorporated well, but just because there is so much biomass in that and the roots, it didn't get broken up as much as we'd like to see. And now that we're looking at it later in the season, we're seeing that the field that got planted with the heavy corn stover, and it is a couple stages behind the field that was planted in the cereal stover. Yeah.
Right, so that would really put a grower behind when it comes to harvest. It wouldn't be able to attract those high temperature days.
Yeah, it's just especially when you're planting it in the early season, you want it to get that heat and really come up really quickly. When you have that stubble in there, it keeps the soil temperatures a little bit cooler, and it's just going to delay it right off the start. So I think if you are planning on leaving some stover in the ground or some residue and you're planting corn, it's always good to have row cleaners in it. If you do use row cleaners and you're planting in a really heavy stubble, it's always good to make sure that they aren't too worn out. So maybe you have to get aggressive row cleaners, or more aggressive than what you have now, and just really work it up. It takes a little bit longer to cultivate it in and incorporate it, but it will pay off in the long run.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And that was Aidan Filipchuk on Real Agriculture.